Hi, I'm here in London to have a cup of tea with Alexandre Mars. He's a visionary French tech entrepreneur and philanthropist whose nonprofit foundation, EPIC, works with charities all over the world to help make giving the norm. We're delighted to have you here, Alexandre. So for this very first episode of Tea for Two, just welcome here at the French Embassy.
Thank you for having me here in London.
So you have a very interesting background. First, you just created multiple businesses, and then you went to the philanthropic area. That's special. What drove you to that?
It was almost there since the very start of my journey. I started my first venture when I was pretty young. I was 17, but the goal was really to see how I will be able to have enough to decide the next chapter of my life. And for me, it was pretty clear the next chapter of my life will be about helping the needy. So when you were 17, you believe everything is easy. And I was like this. I was thinking, okay, in 5 years, I will be the next Bill Gates. And the truth is, after 20 years of hard work, I'm not the next Bill Gates, but I made enough. I started just businesses, a few of them, in the tech world. So I was a tech entrepreneur, building startups, but the goal for me was super clear since day one. I'm in a mission. That's who I am. But for me, the mission was not to make more money. The mission was to have enough to be able to decide where I need to go. And for me, I know where I have to go. I have to go where the people just are in needs, and that's what we do at EPIC.
You seem very determined. You said that when you were 17, you already knew what you wanted to do when you were 40.
So it's interesting. When you were 17 or 15, you know that stuff were things that you can accept. And for me, I was not able to accept injustices. For me, it was when someone was suffering, when it was the biggest injustice for me, it was something I wanted to fight for. And after years and years, this has evolved in something called EPIC, which is a platform to do what? To fight hard, to help this underserved, those unlucky from day one. When I started EPIC with the market research, I want to see a lot of people asking very simple question. Have you given last year? And if yes, do you think you have given enough? And 95% of the time, the answer was no. And when I was asking the question, why not? What's holding you back? People were answering, no trust. I don't trust organizations. I remember just a few months back, you have the Oxfam scandals. So people are thinking, we want to do more, but with no trust, we'll do local stuff. I will give to my school, I will give to my kids' school, I will give to my church, and I will give to the hospitals when I get older. It's fair, but how you can get to the next phase? To get to the next phase, you need to use basically a business mindset around just social good.
So you're building trust, basically. That's the main part of your foundation.
So it's a big part of the foundation is why you don't give, trying to understand, and going through this thing where it's a trust. Let's give you the trust. If tomorrow you are investing money somewhere, you invest money in the business that you are sure that the impact is there, the governance is good, the leadership is really different. Why should it be different with social organizations? And that's what we do. But that's a piece or a part of what we have been doing over the years. Our goal is to back social organizations and social innovation to really change lives of the disadvantaged youth. That's what we do day in, day out. But to do so, we have two different platforms. One is to fund, to finance, and to scale social organizations. So if I'm able to find something with a team amazing in London, why we shouldn't be able to promote this and to scale this in Liverpool, in Manchester, or if it's in France, if it's great in Lyon, why not going to Lille? So the goal is really just how we can scale this. On the other side, how can we make giving the norm? How we're able to make people thinking that it's not only for the Gates of the world, it's not only for the wealthiest of the world, Everyone should be able to do something. And we are building a ton of different solutions, but giving solutions where you, me, anyone can say, yes, when I'm going to my store, when I'm going to the bar, I'm able to round up the invoice. When I'm receiving my paycheck, I can round down my paycheck after the dot or the comma to give this to organizations, charities that will need this money.
Talking to you, I feel there's a really startup mindset in your foundation. You know, I feel like you're experiencing new ways of engaging donors through technologies. Is it something that you thought a lot about to change the way they engage, to change the way they donate?
We need to understand that your generation, the generation of millennials, are different. You're pushing things at the next level. So 20 years ago, the star, the icon at the time was this Scrooge McDuck, was this guy want to have more, and more was never enough. The guy was just barely just swimming in his bathtub of gold coins.
The Wolf of Wall Street.
Exactly. Yeah. And that was almost the norm. You talk to millennials these days, it's just the opposite. They don't want to work for this guy anymore. They don't want to have a friend like this anymore. And at some point, they will stop buying product if they understand that the guy who owns the store, whatever, is someone like it. And it's a huge change because it's not only you doing something, it is the economy has to change. It is changing, not only because it's better, it's because it's needed. And that's what we see. And millennials are putting such pressure. I can see this. 20% of students at Stanford, HEC, you name them, they want to work for a social organization. 20%.
Yeah.
85%, you know this, want to work for an organization that cares about society. That was totally different 20 years ago.
You were talking, I mean, you use the word norm. Do you think that giving has become the norm in our generation? Do you think that's something that really matters and that we understand it as part of the economic area?
Yeah, I do think not yet, but I think we need to give us a few years. I think the next few years, it has to become, even it's not, it has to become the norm.
And that's what you're acting
to
do, so.
And it's the norm, you can't call this norm, it's purpose. I know purpose is the new currency. Before it was pounds, dollars, euros, that was the currency for everyone. Now this is still there. But if it's just only pounds or euros with zero purpose, you will quit your job.
It's nonsense.
It's nonsense and because it's nonsense for your generation, the millennials, you're putting that kind of pressure on the Gen X. So my generation, or the baby boomers before, and that's all fine. So basically, the world we are living in is a world which is super liberal. So it's money and it's success like this. But the beauty of I think the world we are entering in, if it's not hyper-social, if it's not a world where success will be just combined with sharing, won't work. So the world of today is a world of, is not bad to want to be successful in your job or in your life or in your family. The point is how you will share this, how you can help the people it needs, how you can really stop accepting what is not acceptable. Because for decades, we have accepted stuff that should have been accepted.
Last but not least, you seem concerned with the millennial generations. If you had a piece of advice to give us, what would it be?
No, don't accept. Don't accept what other generations, maybe for whatever reasons, have accepted. So don't accept working for someone if you think that someone is an Uncle Scrooge. Don't accept just spend time even with friends if they don't share the same values. The world of today will be built if we align what we think is important with our action.
All right, thanks a lot for coming in.
Wonderful, thank you.
Thank you.